So famous Jaguar hater Jason La Canfora, formerly of CBS Sports, now he's actually a writer for the Washington Post. The other day posted up an article with a bunch of like tidbits from around the NFL, really things stemming from what happened with the Tennessee Titans GM firing to what is Nate Hackett's future. Just a bunch of random stuff he's hearing from the NFL, and he had one quick little blurb about what's going on with the Jaguars right now, front office wise. And I'll read it to you word from word. He said, I also continue to hear a Jaguars front office shakeup is forthcoming, with Trent Baalke perhaps sticking around in another role, but with his future as a GM very much in the balance. Coach Doug Peterson could come away with more power in Jacksonville. And I read this and I just go, please. I pray that this happens. No Jaguar fan likes Trent Baalke. Like, none of us do. And I know when it comes to last year, pretty much everybody was on board with firing him, mainly just from what we've been hearing about just how he is as a person, from how he treated former players to just his track record with never getting along with any head coach. Just everything going on with him. And then we also were told that this is going to affect the head coach search. Like, if Trent Baalke's around, the Jaguars will not be able to hire a very good head coach. And I think people pumped the brakes a little bit once they actually brought in Doug Peterson and said, hey, we actually brought in a respectable, good Super Bowl winning head coach. So a bunch of people were like, all right, he's our guy. Let's kind of roll with it. And then, he spent a bunch of money in free agency, which got a bunch of us fired up. He had a whatever draft. I know this is the first draft in a while where I was actually pretty openly against it. I didn't like a lot of the picks, but, I'm not going to harp on the negatives. So I kind of rolled forward with it. And now the Jaguars, where they are, really a bunch of the free agent signings have kind of busted. We're not seeing a lot of production out of our first round picks this year, and it's not like they're bust or anything, but they're kind of expecting a lot to be desired. And right now the Jaguars defense is terrible, and they're the second most expensive defense in the NFL. And ultimately, the Jaguars stink right now, and they stink, and the stink is, I think, above just the X's and O's, the personnel, stuff like this. The Jaguars just culturally stink. There is a real bad aura or a bad smell, or just the Jaguars logo could basically be replaced with a poop emoji. That's how a lot of really just outsiders view this team, and rightfully so. This team, they stink. They stunk for pretty much almost 20 years now. The 90s is a long way away. So that was a long time ago, I should say. And really the last 20 years has only been a good season, or maybe like 3 or 4 good seasons at most. It's been bad. It's been really bad, and it's been really bad under owner Shad Khan. And really with this one, it's interesting. The fact that, okay, Trent Baalke might not be the GM, but he'd be sticking around in another role. I don't know what that other role would be. I don't know if it's him getting like a promotion to executive vice president of football operations. God, I would hope not. Or, you don't see people in this kind of power position being like demoted. Like, that just doesn't happen in organizations unless you're like Brian Sexton. Like, I just can't see him going from, all right, I'm the GM, and then now I'm the scout for the West Coast. You know what I mean? That part confuses me. If you get rid of a guy like Trent Baalke, who's been a GM twice, you just had to cut the head off the snake, man. You just had to get him out of the building. I am all for Doug Peterson being able to bring in his own GM, because look, Doug Peterson kind of exemplifies everything that we want out of what the Jaguars want to be and what we want out of the culture of the team. I have no idea who he would hire, but when it comes to who we hire as a GM, I think the first step is just, is he a good cultural fit? Does he respect coaches? Does he respect players? Does he listen to people around him when it comes to what his personnel department is like recommending? That's just a big thing. And I don't know Trent Baalke at all. A bunch of these things, a bunch of my opinions about him come from just what I've heard from really just like I said earlier, a combination of like scouts, players that have come out, and all those things that have said stuff. And I just pray that this is something that does come into fruition, because look, like, right now we're in a different situation with this organization, because for the first time ever, we actually have a franchise quarterback. I don't care what you say. Trevor Lawrence is the truth. Look, build around Trevor. And Trevor Lawrence is going into the third year of his, rookie contract. And right now we should have our roster loaded with expensive but good players around him. But right now, some of these guys are just kind of busting. A bunch of the guys that we're spending money on aren't great. And look, there's ways to get around it. There's ways you can restructure stuff. But at some point, you have to hit on your freaking draft picks, man. I mean, like I was looking at this the other day, man. One team I would love to really bring in somebody, to potentially bring up as like a GM is like, look at what the Seahawks organization does. I mean, they have a cornerback out there. I think it was like a 4th or 5th round pick. I think his name was like Tariq Woolen or something. I could be totally wrong with that name, but I know he's like a top 10 rookie right now. Kenneth Walker, great draft pick. And they fleeced the Denver Broncos for all these picks from the Broncos, and they also get Noah Fant along with it. They get Shelby in the interior. The Seahawks are doing something right, man. I would just love to be able to bring in somebody from an organization that's just having success like that and capitalize on it, And, right now I'm not very impressed with what Trent Baalke has done for this team. I just don't feel good going ahead with him. And when it comes to a team that's trying to shake up how they are, when it comes to just public perception, like something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. And look, I'm all for, like I said earlier, I'm all for Doug Peterson being able to take the reins on this and determine his own guy. So I'll be fascinating to see what this looks like. There's only 5 games left of the season. It's crazy that we're already kind of at this point. So look, it's Titans week. Let's just hope we finally just get a hold of them. We haven't won we play in Tennessee. We haven't won in Tennessee since 2014. So, or no, 2013. 2014, I think it was, yeah. So, time to take control. But with all that said, let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. Would you guys be excited Trent Baalke got fired? Love to know. And with all that said, thank you guys for watching. Go Jags. You guys watched the whole video. Really appreciate that. You guys can subscribe to the channel for the best source of Jaguars news on the YouTube platform. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at UCF_Jaguar. And you can become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month for exclusive channel content. Thank you guys, and go Jags.